And to discuss this further, I'm joined in the studio by Ozden Zeynep Oktav. She's a professor at Istanbul Medeniyet University. She's also the author of Limits of Relations with the West, Turkey, Syria and Iran. And we also have a very own Hakki Ocal. He's a journalist who writes often for Daily Sabah and a lecturer at Bahcesehir University. Let's begin with you, Zeynep. The bigger question now, as we move beyond Afrin is still in play, but now we're getting a lot of comments coming from the US that Turkish forces have to be careful about US forces in Manbij. Tell us about this dynamic that is opening up. There are two fronts here.
Yeah. Manbij is a very sensitive place for United States. It is in the eastern part of Euphrates. If you look at the map, you easily see that the place beginning with Jarablus until Iraq, there is a big territory of 400 kilometers, and this place is currently controlled by the YPG under the control of United States and the coalition forces as well. And Turkey openly gave the message that Syrian operations are open-ended. Ibrahim Kalın gave this message very recently, and Turkey does not want to limit this operation until the Jarablus. They are planning, as far as I see, to go beyond the Jarablus. This is a big territory towards the south part of Syria. It includes Kobani and Jezire, and this is a big territory.
These are the YPG. These are the YPG cantons.
YPG cantons, as you mentioned.
Just want to open it up. You mentioned Jarablus. We're mentioning Manbij. Manbij was the focus during Operation Euphrates Shield. One of the key demands for the Turks was that all YPG forces or SDF forces have to move east of the Euphrates. This happened in Jarablus, but it didn't happen in Manbij. But then the Turkish forces, instead of moving directly to Manbij, started moving further west. They went to Dabek, they went to Azaz, and that corridor was opened up with Al-Bab as well. So why Manbij and why now? Why wasn't the Manbij focused on earlier in Operation Euphrates Shield? Why is it coming up now?
We have to visualize that Turkey has drawn a wedge to this series of cantons on the border. I mean, the aim of those things was to shield Turkey off the Arab lands. It had this mentality behind it that it could serve as a pipeline, a new passage for the pipeline for the West. But that is some other issue. But it was sealing Turkey off from Arabs. That was not acceptable. Second, you are opening...
But Hakka, they have succeeded in cutting a wedge or driving a wedge between Arab lands and Turkey. If you look at the map, most of these areas east of the Euphrates are controlled by the YPG, and these are historically Arab areas.
Then, when Turkey was doing the Manbij operation, there was no U.S. military help or assistance, arms going all the way to the cantons. Then, only if you were going to have only political presence there, Turkey could accept that, because that kind of thing could be solved in a political process, in a conference or somewhere. But the United States changed the game. They started providing arms, arming those cantons on the east of Euphrates.
They changed the game, you say, and I want to bring this in for our viewers as well, how the YPG expanded since 2011, when the Syrian conflict started. It started from Qamishli as a rebellion in this Kurdish majority city, but with covert US support, the YPG in 2012 took over Kobane, Afrin, Al-Bab. Then in 2014, with the help of the US support, it retook Kobane from Daesh. In 2015, it re-established itself as the SDF, supported by US fighter jets. And in 2016, with US support, it took over Raqqa and Manbij, where they put up pictures of Abdullah Öcalan very visibly. But still, the US is in denial to a large extent. I want to bring Zeynep here. The US says that there is no connection between the YPG and the PKK. They still insist. Some of the generals earlier, Ash Carter, Defense Secretary under Obama, said there are connections. And this is obvious. The YPG itself is saying there are connections. So why is the US not convinced?
what is the evidence of this? I cannot really understand why they allege that there is no connection between YPG and PKK. The members of the YPG and the leaders of PYD openly says that they are PKK affiliated. PKK affiliated group PJAK also is very active in Iran. And also, this is the Syrian branch of PKK.
And in Iraq, you have PKK offshoots as well.
Of course.
Before I bring this to you, I want to just bring in a statement coming from the Pentagon, where the U.S. Army Joint Staff Director, Lieutenant General Kenneth McKenzie, answering a question about Turkey's legitimate concerns, says that we, the U.S., also recognize Turkey as a legitimate national security interest, and they're very close to the problem. They're the only NATO ally that actually has an active insurgency operating on their own territory. So we understand all of these things. They have an understanding, but there seems to be something missing.
But they are speaking from the both sides of their mouth. I mean, that's what they are doing. I mean, there is this political vacuum at the top. You have a president there who is not paying attention to anything said to him. It is actually a symptom of the narcissistic personality disorder, if I may say so, because he's not listening. If he acts as if he is listening, he's not hearing. I mean, Turkish president explained him that all 1,350 kilometers of the border is now unsecure. As we speak, bombs are falling on Turkish towns right now. I mean, yesterday, one of the bombs came to a mosque during the prayer time. I mean,
in Kilis.
In Kilis. I mean, then if you are legitimately concerned about Turkish concerns, Turkish security issues or their lack of, you have to do something. First thing you need to do, as the United States, is, as you promised, first of all, let us create this safe zone for the refugees and everything. Elbab, Manbij, now Afrin. So it is a good area to send the Syrians back. Second, collect the arms. I mean, those arms you promised to collect.
That doesn't sound feasible. And give an example of Afghanistan. Once these arms go in, nobody knows where they end up.
We know
Exactly.
that. But this is the promise the United States made, and this is, you have to...
But realistically, maybe the Americans even know they can't keep this promise, Hakki.
No, we know they cannot.
Then why do you keep on asking?
So that they can start speaking as we do. I mean, honest, true to God, truth. I mean, let's deal with this issue together. I mean, it's very easy. I mean, it is very easy.
Zeynep Oktav, thank you so much, Hakki Ocal, and we'll continue this conversation as well. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.